Hello everyone, I hope you are doing very well. So welcome to this class, and in this class we are going to discuss definitely the NCERT exercise of chemical reaction and equation chapter, right? This is the chapter 1 from your like what I can say from your NCERT book. You can see chemical reaction and equation. This is an important chapter because in this chapter we introduced what is a chemical reaction, how chemical reactions occurs, and how can we identify that chemical reaction has been occurred or not, and how can we represent chemical reaction on paper. And because if I'm saying like magnesium is reacting with oxygen and it is from magnesium oxide, like hydrogen is reacting with oxygen, it is from water, nitrogen is reacting with hydrogen, it is from ammonia. So how can I write these words on paper? So there will be two types of representation, like word form, right? That is like magnesium plus oxygen will give magnesium oxide, and another form is like symbolic form or chemical equation, in which you have to write the symbols and what I can say compounds of each compounds formula of each and every word, right? Whatever written, right? So you have to write the formulas of compound and symbols of elements while writing the symbolic form. The symbolic form is more informative as compared to the word form, because it contains the number of molecules which are reacting in the reactant side, and how many number of molecules are what I can say formed in the product side. So exactly it is telling everyone everything, right, regarding the chemical regarding that particular chemical reaction. I hope you are very much clear, and I told you the summary of this today's what I can say. I told you a brief overview of this chemical reaction and equation. In this chemical reaction and equation chapter, we have to study what is a chemical reaction. How can I write? It means representation of chemical reaction. Every chemical reaction is not a representation. Every chemical reaction is not a balanced chemical reaction, right? Chemical equation, we can say. Every chemical equation is not a balanced chemical equation. Some chemical equations are balanced chemical equation, but some are not. So those equations which are not following the law of conservation of mass, based on law of conservation of mass, we can say this is the balanced chemical equation and this is the unbalanced chemical equation. If the chemical equation is not balanced, it means it is not following the law of conservation of mass. It means the total number of atoms of each and every element in the reactant side and product side are not equal. It means you can say the total mass of the products are not equal to the total mass of the reactants. And if it is not, definitely we have to balance that particular unbalanced equation. So there are certain steps, and we can use the hit and trial method for balancing the unbalanced chemical equation. Then after chemical reaction representation balancing part, we have to study types of chemical reactions like combination, decomposition, displacement, single displacement, you can say, or double displacement. And apart from this, redox reactions and oxidizing agent, reduction, reducing agents, and some basic terms like corrosion and rancidity. Right. So this is our overview. This is an overview of this particular chapter, that is chemical reaction and equations. And then we had discussed some questions of this NCERT exercise. Now we are continuing that. Okay, after that, so let's move to the question and let's practice these questions, because these NCERT exercise, because you know very well, while going for exam na, before going to exam you have to be prepared very well. And NCERT exercise you have to done you have to complete your NCERT exercise, you have to solve the NCERT exercise, right? Each and every question in your notebook. This is very important. Practice makes you perfect, so practice is very important. So let's continue with this question, and question is, write the balanced chemical equation for the following and identify the type of reaction in each case. You know what is an exothermic reaction, you know what is an endothermic reaction. Exothermic, exit of heat; endothermic, absorption of heat, right? Exo means exit, right? Or endothermic matlab entry. Endothermic means entry. So you have to only identify the types of reaction. The reaction, the options are given in the word form. This is the word form. Let's write it in first symbolic form. So KBr, potassium bromide, aqueous, plus barium iodide. Barium iodide is BaI2. BaI2 gives KBr plus BaI2 gives potassium iodide, which is Ki, plus barium bromide, which is BaBr2. If you want to balance this, you can balance this. You can put 2 here and 2 here. Now this equation is completely balanced. You can see the total number of atoms of each and every element in the reactant side and product side are equal, right? You can see 2 potassium left side, 2 potassium right side, 2 Br left side, 2 Br right side, 1 barium left side, 1 barium right side, 2I2, 2I left side 2i right side. This equation is a complete balanced equation. Now you can see here KBr, this is a compound, BaI2 is another compound. So actually two solutions are there, right? You can see potassium bromide aqueous form and barium iodide aqueous form. So you know very well in the double displacement reaction, exchange of ions will take place. In double displacement reaction, exchange of ion will takes place, right? And in this reaction, the same thing is happening here. Exchange of ions is taking place here and we will get the product. Okay, due to the exchange of ions, that means cations and anions are exchanging their positions in the reactant side and they are forming new products, new substances, which is potassium iodide and barium bromide. So this is a balanced chemical equation, and also the type of this particular reaction is double displacement reaction. Next reaction is zinc carbonate, ZnCO3 solid. Okay, we are heating it and it will form zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. Heat word is not written here, but you know very well decomposition reactions are generally endothermic. And this reaction is also endothermic. So zinc carbonate, when you are heating zinc carbonate, it will form zinc oxide plus carbon dioxide. So single reactant is here, which is giving multiple product. Definitely it is decomposition reaction. Definitely it is decomposition reaction. Hydrogen gas plus chlorine gas gives hydrogen chloride, gas. So H2 plus Cl2, and if I will go with the above reaction, which is the part B, so ZnCO3 gives ZnO plus CO2. So you can see this reaction is a complete balanced equation. That means you can say the unbalanced or balanced both are same, right? So ZnCO3 gives ZnO plus CO2. ZnCO3, one Zn left side, one Zn, one zinc right side. One carbon left side, one carbon right side. 3 oxygen left side, 3 oxygen right side. So H2 plus Cl2 gives HCl. So you can write 2 here. So it will give 2 HCl. This is a balanced chemical equation. And what is the type? Multiple reactants are combining and it is giving a single product. So this is the type of combination reaction. Next is magnesium solid plus hydrogen chloride metal plus acid gives salt and hydrogen gas. It will provide MgCl2 plus H2 gas. You know very well metal plus acid gives salt and hydrogen gas. So definitely magnesium and there is hydrogen. So magnesium is more reactive than hydrogen. That's why magnesium can displace this hydrogen from its compound, right? From its compounds, which is HCl. So you can see here magnesium is more reactive, and when an element which is more reactive displacing the another element from its salt solution or compound, that particular reaction is named as single displacement reaction, or simply you can say displacement reaction. I hope you got the types and you got what I want to deliver to you, right? So this is the answer of this particular question. Let's move to the answer. Balanced chemical equation means a balanced chemical equation actually represents the chemical reaction in which the number of atoms of each and every element in the product side and reactant side are same. Word equation to symbolic equation, and the given statements, the given options are in the form of word equation. So first of all, we have to convert word equation to symbolic equation. In the given reaction, potassium bromide, which is KBr, reacts with barium iodide, which is BaI2, to form potassium iodide, which is Ki, and barium bromide, which is BaBr2. The chemical reaction can be represented as this is the symbolic form of that particular option A. KBr aqueous plus BaI2 aqueous, it gives Ki aqueous plus Br2 solid. So potassium bromide, and you can see this is potassium bromide and this is barium bromide, barium iodide. This is potassium iodide and this one is barium bromide. So you can see here this is the chemical reaction. So if you want to balance this, so certain steps are there. First of all, you have to write the correct skeletal equation, then make a tabular form, write the number of atoms of each and every element in the reactant side and product side in the tabular form, then make a hit, because we know we are balancing this equation with the help of hit and trial method, and just check the atoms of each and every element, whatever you want to balance, which element you want to balance, just check on both sides the numbers are equal or not. If not equal, then again hit and then check. Okay, so this by this you can balance the balance any unbalanced chemical equation. So step 1, write the number of atoms of each and every element. You can see these are the reactants, potassium bromide and barium iodide, and these are the products, potassium iodide and barium bromide. Barium bromide and potassium iodides are the products. You can see the tabular form. In reactant side, you can see this is the reactant side. So these are the elements. This is the reactant side and this is the product side. So potassium reactant side 1 and product side 1. Bromium, bromine 1 and 2. Barium 1, 1. And iodine 2 and 1. So you can see potassium and barium. On both sides, these are equal. So from this table, it is clear that the atoms of bromine and iodine are not balanced. So what can you do here? You can do step 2. Step 2, for balancing the iodine atoms, we will make the coefficients of Ki as 2. So we will put a coefficient in front of Ki. If you are putting a coefficient in front of Ki to make a balance, to make the but iodine balance, so what will happen? The number of potassium will change, right? Number of potassium will change. So now the equation becomes KBr plus BaI2 gives 2 Ki plus BaBr2. Now you can make a table and like again you can see element potassium is 1 on the reactant side, but now element potassium is 2 on the product side. Br 1 and 2, barium 1 and 1, iodine they are balanced. Number of iodine atoms on both sides, reactant side and product side, are now balanced. I hope this is clear. Now what can you do? You can put the another thing, that is the 2 in front of KBr. Now for balancing the rest of the atoms, we will make the coefficients of KBr as 2. The equation becomes 2 KBr plus BaI2 gives 2 Ki plus Br2. This is the complete balanced chemical equation. This is the complete balanced chemical equation. You can see the number of atoms of each and every element on the reactant side. This one is the reactant side. This one is the product side. So this is the complete balanced chemical equation, which is following the law of conservation of mass. According to that, the matter can neither be created nor be destroyed. That means the total number of atoms of each and every element in the reactant side and product side are equal. I hope this is clear to all of you. Let's move to the next. What does one mean by exothermic and endothermic reaction? Give an example. Actually, the question was asking for what? The question was asking that write the balanced chemical equation for the following and identify the type of reaction in each case. So I have solved the first one, right? And I told the answers of each and every part, right? You can see which one is double displacement, which one is decomposition, which one is combination, which one is single displacement. Everything I told you and solved first part. Okay, how can you balance any unbalanced chemical equation? So follow all these steps. Let's move to the next question. I hope you are ready for the next question. This question is very simple. Question is saying that what does one mean by exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction? Everyone, you know, exo means exit, right? Exo means exit. You have to learn with these types of mnemonics, okay? Exo means exit. Thermo means like heat and energy. So what is happening? Exit of heat, exit of energy is what? Exothermic. And entry of heat, opposite of that, endothermic. Endo means like you can say absorption or you can say entry in simple words. Absorption. So absorption of energy is endothermic, entry of heat is endothermic, or exit of heat is exothermic. The question is asking examples. Generally, generally, combination reactions are exothermic. Generally, decomposition reactions are endothermic reactions. You know, decomposition reactions are called opposite of combination reactions. Next, let's see the answer of this particular question. Chemical reactions that release energy in the form of heat, light, or sound are called exothermic reaction. Example, mixture of sodium and chlorine to yield stable salt. Like you can say Na plus half Cl2 gives NaCl plus 411 kilojoule of energy. Right? Na solid plus half Cl2 gives NaCl plus 411 kilojoule of energy. So this reaction is exothermic reaction. Not only this, C6H12 plus O2 gives 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O plus energy. This is also exothermic. If you want to balance this is an homework for you. What will be the coefficient in front of O2 we will put. Okay, suppose I am saying X here. Okay, I am saying X here, so you have to tell me what coefficient we can put here. Next is decomposition reactions. So reactions that absorb energy or require energy in order to proceed are called endothermic reaction. For example, the process of photosynthesis. Plants use the energy from the sun to convert carbon dioxide and water to glucose and oxygen. And if I will revert that equation, CO2 plus what? Carbon dioxide. Plants use the energy from the sun to convert carbon dioxide and water. They are using sunlight. They are forming glucose plus oxygen. This reaction is happening occurring in plants, and this one is in like animals, like humans. Okay, I hope you are very much clear. How can we say that which one is exothermic and which one is endothermic reaction? Endothermic reactions are those reactions in which absorption of heat, requirement of energy, or entry of heat is taking place, and exothermic reactions are those reactions in which exit of heat or release of energy is taking. Okay, let's move to the next. You can see the reaction. 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O gives sunlight, in the presence of sunlight, gives C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6O2. This C6H12O6 is nothing, that is glucose. That is what? Formula of glucose. Next question is, why is respiration consider an exothermic reaction? Exothermic means exit of heat. Exit of heat. Explain. Because you know very well, during respiration, what we will do? Energy is required to support life, and energy in our body is obtained from the food that we eat. In food, you know, glucose is present. So during digestion, what happens? So the large molecules from the food that we are taking, that we are intaking, right, are broken down into simpler substances such as glucose, and formula of glucose is C6H12O6. When we are inhaling oxygen, so oxygen will combine with this glucose, and they will react with each other, and they will form CO2, H2, and energy. So this energy is releasing here. So definitely what we can say, that respiration is an exothermic process. Respiration is an exothermic process because glucose when combined with oxygen, I have not written here the balanced chemical equation because I am giving you homework. You can balance these unbalanced chemical equation because balancing is very important according to exam point of view. So glucose combines with oxygen in the cells and provides energy. The special names of the combustion reaction. This is a combustion reaction when something is burning in the presence of oxygen is known as combustion. So the special name of this particular combustion reaction is respiration. Since energy is released in the whole process, it is an exothermic reaction. What type of process? This is a type of exothermic reaction. Okay, let's move to the next question. You can see an example like Mg plus 2HCl gives MgCl2 plus H2, and glucose. This is a misprint. Okay, so the reaction will be glucose. I told you already, C6H12O6. And if I am writing the balanced chemical equation, you have to put 6O2. Then you will get 6CO2 plus 6H2O, and along with these you will get energy. That means energy is released here. I hope this is clear to everyone. Let's move to the next, which is a very interesting question. Why are decomposition reactions? Decomposition reactions, a single reactant break down into multiple products, right? Or a single reactant break down into two or more products. Recalled the opposite of combination reactions. Combination reaction means when is multiple reactants combined give a single product. That is, so write equations for these reactions. So you can see these are the general form. If you forget how like what type of reactions or what type of examples we can write in decomposition or in combination, so just write the general one. Okay, so you can see decomposition reactions are those in which a compound breaks down to form two or more substances, and these reactions definitely require a source of energy, and they absorb some energy to proceed. Thus they are the exact opposite of combination reaction in which two or more substances combine to give a new substance along with the release of energy. Decomposition reaction, like you can see, AB plus energy gives A plus B. Like you can take the example of 2s2. Decomposition reaction we can classify like based on if we are providing heat, so that will be named as thermal decomposition, right? That will be named as thermal decomposition, like thermal decomposition of lead nitrate. If we are providing electricity, that will be named as electrolytic decomposition. And if we are providing sunlight, that will be named as chemical decomposition, photolytic decomposition also. Right? So you can see the examples. Decomposition reactions, 2H2O electrolysis gives 2H2 plus O2. Combination reaction, A plus B gives AB plus energy. So 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O plus energy. 2H2 plus energy. This is what? This is liquid. This is liquid. But during the combination of H2 and O2, the amount of energy is released is very high, and you will get this H2O in gaseous form, right? In a vapor form. Next question is, write one equation each for decomposition reaction where energy is supplied in the form of heat, light or electricity. As I told you already, heat means thermal decomposition. Heat, if you are providing heat and the decomposition reaction is taking place, so that will be named as thermal decomposition. In case of light, it is named as photolytic decomposition, because lytic means like breaking down and photo means like light. So photolytic decomposition, this is known as also thermolytic decomposition or if we are providing electricity, this is named as electrolytic decomposition. Electrolytic decomposition. So you can see the example of thermal decomposition or thermolytic decomposition, like decomposition of ferrous sulfate, FeSO4. Upon heating, it will form ferric oxide and plus SO2 plus SO3 gas. So ferrous sulfate gives ferric oxide uh, upon heating, and also along with the sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide gases. I hope you are getting this concept. This is very simple. The next one is decomposition by light, which is nothing like silver chloride and silver bromide, right? When comes in contact with light, they will undergo decomposition reaction and they will form silver, and Cl2 gas is released here. Cl2 gas is released here. Similarly, they will form, like if I will heat AgBr and upon not heat, if I will do the same reaction with AgBr, which is silver bromide, that means AgBr, like on providing light, it will form Ag plus Br2. Br2, which is bromine, and this is silver. Then decomposition by electricity, you can take the example of Al2O3. Also, you can take the example of what? You can take the example of H2O. So 2Al2O3, this one is aqueous. Upon electricity, it will form 4Al solid plus 3O2 gas, right? On passing electricity. This is aluminum oxide, this is aluminum, and this is oxygen. I hope you got each and every concept. So this is the example. I am providing some examples. You can make so many examples, you can learn so many examples, because in your book, decomposition by light, electricity and heat, multiple examples are given. Okay, let's move to the next. What is the difference between displacement and double displacement reaction? A displacement reaction is also named as single displacement reaction. So the basic difference is like here is only single displacement and the another is the double displacement. How can we learn this? If there is a single displacement reaction, it means you can take a more reactive element like A is here, which is displacing the less reactive element. Like in BC, the B is less reactive element, so A is more reactive, B is less reactive. If A is more reactive, then it is more powerful actually, right? If it is more reactive, then it is more powerful and it can displace the B from its salt solution or compound, and you will get the AC. You will get what? You will get AC and plus B. That means A is displacing B. It's like if I'm providing an example, okay, I'm not giving anything, I'm providing only example. Suppose two students A and B are there and C is coming, okay, and let's take another example. Suppose two students B, C are there and A is coming. A wants to sit here. So if A is strong, so A can displace it. If B is strong, so A can't displace it. If B is strong, so A can't displace it. That is the point here. So if A is strong, so A can displace it, A can substitute it, and it will form decomposition reaction and a product. So in single displacement reaction, a more reactive element can displace the a less reactive element from its salt solution or compounds, like acid base reaction, like precipitation reaction. These are the examples of single displacement reaction. What about double displacement reaction? In double displacement reaction, exchange of ions will take place. Exchange of ions will take place. Suppose I am taking AB and along with this I am taking CD. Then it will form. This is cation. This is cation, this is anion, this is cation, this is anion. So exchange of ions will take place. That means the cation and ions exchange their positions, right? You can see if A is cation, so it will combine with D, and if B is anion, so it will combine with C. So you will get this product. So exchange of ions will take place. That is known as what? A double displacement reaction. Very simple example. If you will take, suppose I am reacting with Na, uh, suppose I am reacting as NaOH plus HCl, acid plus base. So Na is positive, OH is negative, H positive, Cl negative. So Na will combine with Cl, H will combine with OH. So H will combine with OH will form H2. Na will combine with Cl, it will form NaCl, which is salt and also named as common salt. And if I will take the highly concentrated aqueous solution of sodium chloride, that will be known as brine. That will be known as brine. I hope you are very much clear about this question. So let's see the answer. In displacement reaction, more reactive element release a more reactive element replace or displace a less reactive element from a compound or a salt solution. Like A plus Bx gives Ax plus B, where A is more reactive than B. A is more reactive than B. I hope so far everything is clear. Let's see the another point of this particular answer. In a double displacement reaction, two atoms in a double displacement reactions, two atoms or group of atoms switch places to form new compounds. It means you can say, as I told you already in simple word, exchange of ions will take place. This is a simple and heavy word, right? So exchange of ions will take place. So the double displacement reaction example will AB plus CD. So A will combine with D and C will combine with B. So AD plus CB will be the product. For example, as I given you already. You can see displacement reaction. CuSO4 plus Zn gives ZnSO4 plus Cu, because zinc is more reactive than copper. That's why this reaction is happening. If I will reverse this, if I will react zinc sulfate with copper, so reaction will not take place, because zinc is less reactive than copper. Correct or wrong? Because if I'm taking zinc sulfate, if zinc is less reactive than copper, then reaction will happen. It means copper is less reactive than zinc and zinc is more reactive. That's why this reaction will not happen. Next is double displacement reaction. What about double displacement reaction? Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 gives BaSO4 plus 2 NaCl. Sodium sulfate reacting with barium chloride, or you are getting BaSO4 plus 2 NaCl. It means the reaction, in this reaction, exchange of ions will take place. It means in this reaction, what is happening? Exchange of ions is taking place, and if the in the reaction exchange of ions is taking place, so definitely that particular reaction is named as double displacement reaction. In this reaction, you can see this is salt, this is barium chloride, this one is barium sulfate, and this is 2NaCl. This is 2NaCl, which is sodium chloride. You can write here 2NaCl as well in the product side. In the product side. Okay, let's move to the next question, which is a simple question. In the refining of silver, okay, the recovery of silver, which is Ag, from silver nitrate solution, AgNO3 solution, involved displacement by copper metal. Write down the reaction involved. So it is very simple. Copper we can use for the recovery of silver, so you can see the reaction 2AgNO3 reacting with copper. Because copper is more reactive than silver, it comes up, because copper is more reactive than silver, because it comes up in the reactivity series, right? And Ag comes below, right, from copper in the reactivity series. So copper is what? More reactive. Copper is more reactive, right? So it will form copper nitrate plus 2Ag. So 2AgNO3 plus Cu gives CuNO3 whole twice plus 2Ag. So this is silver nitrate, this is copper nitrate plus silver. I hope you got this answer. Let's move to the next question. What do you mean by precipitation reaction? Example by explain by giving examples. Precipitation reactions are those reactions in which a solid insoluble substance will be formed. Solid insoluble substances formed. I hope this is clear to you. Let's move to the answer. A reaction in which an insoluble solid, that is called precipitate, solid insoluble substance, is formed is called a precipitation reaction. For example, Na2CO3 sodium carbonate reacting with calcium chloride. So you will get calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3 solid. You can also write what you can also write this precipitation reaction just by you can represent this precipitate CaCO3 just by putting a down arrow. I hope you got the answer. I hope you got everything. How to write answers? Okay, plus 2 NaCl, plus the 2 NaCl. If I will write NaCl here, plus 2 NaCl. So you can see sodium carbonate is reacting with calcium chloride and it is forming calcium carbonate plus sodium chloride. In this reaction, calcium carbonate is obtained as a precipitate and it is a precipitate reaction because as I told you already, calcium carbonate is acting as a precipitate here because solid word is written. So another example of precipitation reactions you can take like Na2SO4, which is nothing that is sodium sulfate plus barium chloride. Sodium sulfate when reacting with barium chloride, so exchange of ions will take place here, right? So like you can see, Na is positive, SO4 2 negative, Ba is 2 positive, and Cl is negative. So if exchange of ions will take place and balancing, after balancing, you will get this reaction is becomes Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 gives BaSO4 barium sulfate plus 2 NaCl sodium chloride. So sodium sulfate, this is barium chloride, this is barium sulfate, and this one is sodium chloride. This one is sodium chloride. Next, in this reaction, barium sulfate is obtained as a precipitate. So this reaction is named as precipitation reaction. Okay. So the next question is explain the following in terms of gain or loss of oxygen with two examples. So explain the following in terms of gain or loss of oxygen with two examples. We have to explain the oxidation term and reduction term. Okay. So we will discuss this question in the next class, and after that some questions are there. We will be discussing these important questions in the next class. I hope so far everything is clear to you. So this chapter is important chapter because we had introduced what is a chemical reaction, how can chemical reaction is occur, and how can we identify chemical reaction. A chemical reaction is always accompanied by a chemical change, you know very well. So this is the important chapter, and this is the we are providing the solutions of NCERT exercise. Okay. So while looking the solutions, before the solution you have to solve the questions so that you can check your knowledge and you can then check the solution as well. Okay. So this is all about this today's class, and thank you so much everyone. We will meet soon in the next class, and with in that particular class we will discuss this question and forwarded questions. Okay. So thank you so much again. Have a nice day.